I first accepted this opportunity to write a song about Boyle Heights, I never thought it was going to be the start of self-discovery in a sense. I had been trying for 3 weeks to come up with a topic. I watched videos of people, musicians that inspire me, thriving in their field. I even listened to old tapes to inspire me, and I just couldn't figure out what I should write about. So I decided to go to 2 Boyle Heights natives to help me with that. My mom and dad. So I wanted to talk to you guys because it's been very difficult for me. For the past 3 weeks, this has never really happened where I feel like I just have reached a writer's block. And of course, I kept thinking about Mariachi Plaza. You know, that was something that I wanted to talk about. And I just wanted to hear your input on whether or not you think that's the direction I should be taking.
Well, I mean, mariachi is a very important thing in our family. You know, that's the type of music that we play. And I remember when you were born, you were like maybe a year old when we were part of the procession that year. And your dad was pushing you on the baby carriage. And we got approached by a journalist from LA Times. And because I guess he was tripping out that you were like asleep in the middle of all of this, like mariachi music all around you. And you were like all peaceful in your little baby carriage. And so he just approached us, and then he started like, what, Richard?
Well, this was before they even built the Plaza de Mariachi. So this was way like when you were again a year old. So even before we had the Mariachi Plaza, we had a lot of memories there. There was a donut shop there. A lot of mariachi musicians. It was like the hub for a gathering of just many mariachi musicians that were pretty much freelancing and getting together in groups and being, musicians and on hire. So we knew many of them, and we knew a lot of them that would come into this one festival. It was in November, La Santa Cecilia. And that's when the reporter was there and why he was there. And we were all just celebrating and thanking Santa Cecilia. She is the patron saint for all mariachi musicians and musicians in general. And I learned that because I didn't know who Santa Cecilia was as I was growing up. And because I started playing mariachi and I heard about the festival.
And we were performing on the festival.
We were performing at the festival. And that's how I was introduced to Santa Cecilia. And ever since then, she's been very important, and we see how important she is to many musicians, especially in very difficult times. She's always been the guiding light for many musicians, and we celebrate her every year, and it's always an honor to go and play at what they would call La Boyle and now Mariachi Plaza. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to see that there is a kiosco and there is a nice gathering now that
it's
we
like
can
our
celebrate.
Place. It's where the mariachis have a place here in Boyle Heights.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why the musicians that are in that area and outside that area, they go above and beyond to create this beautiful celebration that starts off with the mañanitas, then a procession. After the procession, there's a mass. And then after the mass, there's like an all-day festival of different mariachis from not only California, throughout the United States, and also some from Mexico. They get invited. So that's a pretty cool event. Brings in thousands of people, coming and going, vendors and everything. Is a big celebration.
The Santa Cecilia
Festival. And the year that we took you, when you were just a year old, the reporter, like I said, he was tripping out that you were like asleep in the middle of all this music going on. And he approached us and then he asked, what was your name? And then when we said it was Angelica Cecilia, he was like, Cecilia, did you name her after the saint? I go, yes, we did. And so you actually ended up making it to the LA Times article that year.
I'm going to look it up.
You're going to find it. It's there. And if you look up your name, it's just a place where we all could gather in a safe place. The community, that event is not only for musicians, it's an event for
everyone.
The community.
Yeah.
It's a community event. People that don't really go maybe anywhere, they show up that day. Like it's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And they show up and they know that's going to be an all-day mariachi festival for free for anybody that shows up. And that's when we get a chance to actually, interact and say hi to our fellow mariachi musicians because we don't get to see them.
Yeah, it becomes very special because as mariachi musicians, we're constantly performing and we know of each other, but we don't get a chance to really have time to talk, to catch up.
Convivir.
And so, yeah, to have that convivio. And when we are at Mariachi Plaza, when we go see them, it's a great opportunity for us to reconnect with musicians we haven't seen in years. And it's amazing how these groups from everywhere come to perform there. And then you see the spectators that are coming from far, far away. And it's just a very unique event that happens in Boyle Heights. And it's really the central heart of mariachi musicians in Boyle Heights. And so I'm very proud that I'm from Boyle Heights. Mariachi music was very influential thanks to the events at Santa Cecilia. And I could see it still today where many people that go and see the mariachi musicians, which are great, you can see it in their eyes that they're very excited about it. It's an emotional experience because some of the songs also reflect that challenge that we face in life, losing loved ones, celebrating life, dancing,
even nostalgia, because they become nostalgic of where they came from, and not necessarily.
But that's mariachi music, no?
Yeah, but it's not only just from Mexico. It could be from anywhere because mariachi music has traveled to Central America and South America. And so it's not just a Mexican thing, but it's more like almost a worldwide. Yeah. It has touched many, many people. And so at these events, you see, people laughing, people crying, people like singing along, people dancing. It's just a great event, and
it's great to be a part of it too. It's a different thing to be watching and to be performing. It's really like two worlds, and I'm grateful to have been a part of that.
You could totally tell like there's a big energy shift in that space when it's almost like everybody is at the same energy, the same impulse because of the music. First of all, it's loud, and then you have the mariachi, whoever is playing. They start making connections with the audience, and then it's almost like the audience is kind of reciprocating that same energy, and so it's a pretty cool experience.
Well, I think I have my answer. I think I'm gonna write about that experience. At least I'm gonna try.
I think you should because I think it could be one thing that you can focus on because you've been around it as a young girl.
It's definitely a part of me.
And I think you've come full circle because as you were growing, you saw your mom and I perform at the Mariachi Plaza as an audience member, going with grandma, going with your sister, your aunties, uncles, and now you're a mariachi musician, and that is in our hometown in Boyle Heights.
Once I knew that I was going to write a song about the Santa Cecilia Festival, the song gradually came to me. I first started with the chords, and then the melody came, and then the lyrics. And the next step was to present it to my dad.
And then like right there, and that's like the idea of the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
But now comes the tricky part that I'm really gonna need your help on.
Yeah.
If you have free time.
Yeah.
Because I can't write. I know that that's something that I definitely have to work on, and just working on this project has really made it very clear to me on like things that I need to work on as a musician, especially if I'm serious about being a songwriter, which I am. I really need to learn how to write music. However, I do have a melody and the notes in my head.
Yeah.
So I have that ability, but I just need to learn how to put it onto paper.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you can help me with the arrangement.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a chord chart. I don't know. Do you want me to put it on Finale? I know you use Finale.
Yeah, I use Finale. So what I could do is listen to the parts you have in your mind, and then we could start with the rhythm first, and start documenting all that, transcribing all of that. And I know you're very intuitive, so as we write it out, don't think that that's just written in stone. We could always change it. So I know the other parts you have in your head might complement certain sections, and then you might want to change something because of that. But it's good that you see it in front of you and you kind of see how it's working out.
Yeah.
And we can definitely use finale, and then as we're moving along each section, we can start adding, the rhythm section, the guitarrón section, and then what ideas you have for violins and trumpets. And we definitely want to put your vocal line first too, so that way you know what you're doing with your vocal line.
Yeah, you always told me that the most important thing is the vocal line.
Yeah, everything revolves around it, and you want your arrangement to support that vocal line.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready right now.
Well, let's do it then. That'll be a good change up there for your vocal line. However, your vocal line was La gente y el cielo.
Oh, it's clashing.
And the trumpet part was very independent to what you wanted.
Yeah.
And so how the important part is, how can you support that?
After I gave my dad the chord sheet, he was then able to put that into finale along with the bass line and the vocal line. I was then explaining to my dad the different manicos, rhythm patterns that I wanted for the armonía. And then came the hard part. We added the violins, the trumpets. I was playing notes on the piano and singing to him what I wanted, and he was able to then write it in the score. And after about 4 hours, we finally finished the arrangement. And now came the fun part. It was time to record in our home studio in our attic.
So today we're going to track the guitar part, and Angie will be recording that. And then I'll go ahead and layer the guitarrón part over your guitar, and then the vihuela after that.
Okay.
I'm trapped.
Right.
All right, I'm ready. Come with me to my hometown. As I started to sing, I couldn't help but just think of all the experiences that I had there at Mariachi Plaza. And it really helped me just naturally sing with more sentimiento, to really just pay homage to this wonderful site here in Boyle Heights. And the next day, I had to be the sound engineer. While my dad and I listened to the tracks, we both just couldn't believe that that was us. That's our family on that. Of course, I reached out to a friend of ours to help us out with the trumpet parts. That's on me. I should have taken my trumpet lessons a little bit more seriously. But still, I had Chris be a part of it. And I'm very happy with his interpretation of the arrangement. And we were done. We mixed it afterwards, and we were done. And again, just very reflective on how much mariachi really is a big part of who I am and of my family.